In spring semester of 2020, about a month before the closure due to COVID-19, Instructional Technology and the Libraries worked with a class on their very first For Against Neutral assignment. In this specific case, we used the assignment as an exercise to teach and prove editing skill sets for a larger assignment.
My name is Ellen Block, and I am an associate professor in the sociology department, and I'm an anthropologist. I use this assignment for my transnational anthropology class. Over the course of the whole semester, the students make a documentary film that gets presented on Scholarship and Creativity Day. And it's a class that looks at transnational people's experiences. It's a lot about migrating groups that are present in Minnesota. What they're trying to do is tell a story about some transnational experience or issue.
Before they started working on their documentary, students took part in the For Against Neutral assignment as an exercise to test their editing skill sets. Using the Vanderbilt Television News Archive available through the library's database collections, we were able to use Iraq War coverage as the basis for the assignment. Students were asked to selectively edit the clips in a way that appeared for, against, or remaining neutral to the question of the justification of the invasion of Iraq based upon the presence of nuclear weapons.
David, as you know, the Vice President of the United States and Secretary of State Powell say, we still don't know the end result. We could still find these weapons.
Well, Tom, let me explain how I came to a different conclusion. If there are large stockpiles of weapons, there must have been a production process which required plants, required people, and it would have produced documentation. But we have seen nothing that would indicate large-scale production.
And what that shows them is that any sort of body of footage, like the ones that they're taking for their own projects, can be turned to tell a narrative in multiple different ways. And it's really important to understand that because the students have a responsibility to represent the people that they are telling this story about in the way that would feel true to them.
Using very basic editing techniques, students were able to change the specific message of each individual interview if they chose to.
Saddam Hussein had the intention of having weapons of mass destruction, had weapons of mass destruction programs, had weapons which he had used in the past, and we believed he had every possibility of having such weapons in the present. Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, weapons which he had used in the past, and we believed he had every possibility of having such weapons in the present. Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, weapons which he had used in the past, and we believed he had every possibility of having such weapons in the present.
This became especially apparent to students during the review session at the end, and also helped create a flag of what the motivation of the specific piece might be. However, most of the students were not aware that some of the B-roll that was provided was actually not related to the war in Iraq, but was instead stock footage of Iran. Using these images on top of manipulated interviews, they were able to create compelling arguments of misrepresented information.
I really hope students took away from this project that context really matters. You can't just take something out of context and use it for whatever ends you want. You need to embed it in its context. How you tell someone's story really matters. And this video project really shows that because the results based on the groups are totally different. And so it really shows that, you could support something or show something totally different. And especially in this current day and political context, we know that data can be manipulated, news stories can be told in a certain way, and it can create falsehoods and partisanship. So it's really important. This video assignment shows them the responsibility they have in crafting their narrative.
After having used a version of this assignment in several cases, we've realized that an important component of the assignment is to have a conversation about information and media literacy and the ethical use of information. Please consider the joint learning outcomes recommended by Instructional Technology and the Libraries as a guide to consider incorporating one of these aspects into this assignment. Other considerations for improving the assignment or making it so that it was scalable for a range of different classes include changing the topic, modifying the pre-recorded content, or considering an alternative medium, such as an audio podcast.
I think this type of assignment could be developed to use in lots of different classes. I think there's a lot of faculty members that do podcasts, and I think there could be a similar assignment crafted for podcasts that doesn't use video but uses audio clips, and showing that you could take audio clips to manipulate a story to different ends and kind of get that same message across. I think it also might be good to have a newer, a more recent example of something that you could tell in multiple different ways, because then students would have their own knowledge about it to bring to the assignment.
The for against neutral assignment has typically been done as a single session flipped classroom assignment. In this sense, it's never focused on helping students become masters of video production or audio editing. Instead, it is our hope that students will think critically, creatively, and with complexity about what it means to create and consume information and media in their world today.
This kind of assignment really connects to a liberal arts education because it brings in lots of different skill sets and a sort of interdisciplinary approach to real life examples. That's what the liberal arts can do for us. It gives us all the ability to think critically and contextually about different things from all these different angles and then apply them to real life. So I think this is a really great example of how an assignment can teach students to do that. So it was a really valuable addition to the liberal arts.